What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Fresh Friday. My name is Chef Teejay. Thank you so much for tuning in once again. This week, we're going to keep it up north with a variation on a Zimbabwean staple, beef stew. But our family up north would call it a Tajine. It is a very simple dish, but super full of flavor. So without further ado, let's cook. So our dish today, guys, will be going with some couscous. Okay, now for the couscous, I've got some grated carrots, which we're going to add to that, as well as some dates, which we've just pitted. We're going to chop those up in a little bit. And for the tagine itself, I've got some garlic and ginger that we've grated here. We've also got some beautiful red onions. Okay, and then we've got some red and green peppers here that I've chopped up. And finally, we've got some red tomato there that we're just going to use. I'm also going to be using some super blade, which is a great cut for stews. And we're going to take all of that, put it all together. We've also got our spices here. And so I've got some ground coriander there, I've got some ground cumin, as well as some ground paprika. We're going to use our chicken stock and a couple of other things, and we'll be good to go. All right, so guys, I'm just going to start here with our beef. Okay, and just going to cut some half there. Just to the side. I want sort of medium-sized chunks. I'd probably say about 1 centimeter by 2 centimeters. Something that just to be mindful of is, as best as you can, when you can see the grains in the meat, try and cut against the grain. So our meat's going that way, and we're going to cut like this. That helps to make the meat a bit more tender when you bite into it, as well as just helping our cook along. Okay.
It's just savoury. That's how I pronounce it. Literally the way.
Okay, guys, so we've got our stove set up here through the magic of 1,000 wizards. And what we're going to do first, so I've got some water and salt boiling. That's for our couscous. Okay, and the next thing we're going to do here, so our pan is nice and hot there. And we're just going to add some oil to this. We're going to cook off our beef just to seal it. And then once we've done that, we're going to make a little paste with which to make our tagine. Then we can proceed from there. Wonderful. As we already know, we love that sound. And yeah, I think I've touched on the idea before that throughout the cook, you just need to season and also layer our flavor. Alright, now here, just because all we're trying to do is seal the beef in, we won't worry too much about that, but just make sure you put a little bit of salt. Okay guys, so our beef's been going there as well as our boiling water. I'm just going to grab my tongs here to give you guys a look. And what we've got there is that we're just starting to get color on our meat. It's beautifully like that. Alright, so we're just going to turn it over. And then we're just going to give that a few more minutes there so it can start to color on the other side. And here, so now our water's boiled there, and I'm just going to turn that off. Alright, and then what we'll do here, so like I said, we've got about 2 cups of water there. And so with couscous, you want to add equal parts of water and couscous. So if you've got 1 cup of water, or you're going to use 1 cup of couscous rather, you add 1 cup of water, and roughly it's about 1 cup per person in terms of portion. And we're just going to let that sit, and as that cooks, that couscous is going to absorb a lot of that water, almost all of it actually, and it'll come nice and fluff up, and it'll be delicious and good. Our meat's almost done here, so once that is ready, we're going to take that out of the pan. Then we're going to make the paste for our tagine, throw our meat back in, and then let it cook. Okay guys, so that's our beef. We've got our beef to color there, and I've just got my pan still hot again. And what I'm going to do here is I'll start with my ginger and my garlic. Again, we don't want to add too much oil, but at the same time, we don't want our ginger and our garlic to burn. It's just got to start softening. There we go. I'm also going to add onions here. You can just see there that our onions are starting to soften. That looks good enough to eat just as it is. Low-key, high-key might just eat it as it is. No, I'm kidding. Okay. So as my onions have just softened there, I'm gonna add our beef. Yeah, go on, get in. We love it, we love to hear it, we love to hear it.
Yeah, it's like ancient Swahili.
We're gonna let that go a little bit, just to fry off. After this, we're just gonna add our tomatoes and a bit of stock, and then we'll be ready to go. So our beef's been going there. Now we're just gonna add the tomatoes. Alright. So I've also got half of my dates here that I've just pitted and roughly chopped. So we're gonna add those into there as well. If you can't get dates, you can use raisins. If you can't get raisins, honestly, you can just use a little bit of honey, because outside of the flavor, this gives our dish a little bit of sweetness, which is really what we're looking for. So if you can't use dates, those are some substitutes that you can just throw in there. And here I've just got 2 cups of chicken stock. Now you can use beef stock, vegetable stock. If you don't have either of those, you can honestly just use water, but I think we've discussed before the idea of layering flavor as we go along, and stock is always a great way to do that, especially with stews. Alrighty, so that's good to go. So we're going to let that simmer for about 30 minutes on a high heat. Now over here, we're going to move over to our couscous, so that's about ready to go. Okay. And we're just going to open that up there, and that is beautiful. It is nice and fluffy and well steamed. And what we'll do there is we're going to chop up the rest of our dates and our carrots, and we're just going to mix that in and then let that sit again while the couscous is still hot, because that'll help release some of the flavor in those 2 things. And then we'll be ready to go to plate. Okay guys, so our tajine's been going for about 30 minutes. I'm just going to take a look here. And it looks absolutely delicious. That looks so good. I'm just going to give that a little turn so you can see just sort of how... So our tomatoes are broken down. The dates that we put in there are broken down as well. We've got a wonderfully thick sauce. Okay, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And so the last thing we're going to do here is just add our peppers. Alright, now because of how small we've cut our peppers, we don't want them cooking too long, otherwise we lose that color, but in that time they will impart a bit of flavor, which is exactly what we're looking for. Alright, so I'm just going to cover that for about 2 minutes, and once we've done that, we'll be ready to plate. Okay guys, so now we're just going to finish off our couscous to start off with. I've just got 2 dates here, and all we're going to do is give them a little bit of a rough chop. Get those in. Gonna break up quite nicely, and then we just got our grated carrots as well. Just gonna throw in. So we can have a look there, and that's coming together beautifully. We've got some good colors going, and now we're ready to serve. Ain't no need to prove that. To these rappers, I'm a nuisance. Don't blame it on the music. One time you can blame it on the music. And don't worry about me. Just a little time's all I need just to prove it. I know I've been putting in a lot of late nights. Don't worry about me. I just wanna know what the cake tastes like. Don't worry about me. Never tripping on the snap or the FaceTime. Don't worry about me. Never chilling, never fellas that waste time. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about me. I'm just trying to ride, trying to get that dough. Don't worry about me. I'm just trying to ride, trying to get that juice. Don't worry about me. Just a little time is all I need. Till I can fly with no ID. Gotta just stay that on.